Hello and welcome to the third episode of Power On Podcast, Bebop, Honky Tonk Women. How you doing? My name is Woodagata553, also known as Taylor, and with me is Mr. Sushi B. How you doing?
I'm doing well, ready to dive into this episode and join a new Bebop member.
Kind of, sort of, temporarily.
To be, I guess.
Right.
Eventually
Right.
to be.
Yeah, so, this is another pivot because it's nice that it actually starts with Faye.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it gives us a little bit of breathing room. And it's like, hey, you guys got pretty much 2 episodes of Jet and Spike palling around. You can take a moment. We're going to introduce this new character and go from there. And I appreciate that. It's a nice little pump the brakes, give enough of wiggle room to see what Faye's deal is to some degree. Not the whole shebang, but just a little bit. And then after a little bit of a setup, we finally see the dynamic duo.
That we do.
How do you feel about this episode? Is this one a little bit better for you, or is
Yes.
it a little bit more?
Yes, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit more. Even though this episode's kind of split into 2 genres, I do find that I gravitate a little bit stronger to enjoying this episode on a lot of levels.
Yeah, this is just a really solid one that I could see people, for better and for worse, being like, those 2 you can come back to, but you could really just start it here on episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, rightly or wrongly. Like, I could see people being like, those, come back to them afterwards.
Yeah. I could see that, and not just because I don't like episode 2 as much, but just because it's so off kilter between episodes 1, 2, and 3. Is the definitely the odd duckling in that group, and doesn't really do a lot of character building per se, I suppose, other than introducing Ein. But I would 1 to 3 makes a little bit more of a natural jump.
Outside of explaining Ein's existence, but
yeah, but just tonally and stuff, they're a little bit more aligned.
Though I will make an argument for 2 in that it doesn't, and you had pointed it out yourself, is that, Jet and Spike, it's not like they're changing characters.
Oh yeah,
it's just changing. So you can see that they're still with who they are, despite all the wackiness going on. So I think it's to still have that strong thread through 1, 2, and 3 is good to see, because it's not like, oh well, the dynamics change, so everything's going out the window.
Right.
So,
but to pull it back closer to episode 1 makes sense to introduce Faye. If this was a really over the top episode, you would expect the Faye character to constantly be that type of character. Yeah.
Well, and then this is something I also really like about Faye, is that, kind of similar to what I mentioned about the others, is that there's a competency to her, but boy, does she like to get in her own way.
Yeah.
like she can get things done when, not necessarily when she sets her mind to it, but she can get things done, but it feels like she just trips over her own feet.
I think she's relied on luck for so long that it's finally caught up to her that maybe it's almost that balance of all the good luck she's had is now kind of flushed away into a lot of bad luck. She's kind of getting caught up for all the time she was fortunate. Now she's getting kind of caught back of the unfortunate side of the coin.
Right, and then it does kind of bring up maybe a darker question, especially with her character, of when you have such a blinding great stroke of luck in your past to then really have to pay for it
Mhm.
on the back end. How that might make somebody really kind of feel about life, you know?
Mm-hmm. She's quite
So,
cavalier.
but, mm-hmm.
Maybe even more so than Spike.
Yeah. Yeah, you could almost say that's a mistake of youth.
Maybe,
to some
maybe
degree.
not.
Right, because she's like 24?
I think she's 24. 23 or 4.
Yeah, so.
This episode does something really, really clever that you won't catch on until much later into the run. And that first, 4 or 5 lines that Gordon lays on when he's talking to Faye, and how much foreshadowing is put into there. Because you're just thinking, what is all this? Means nothing. What is this? What does this mean? This doesn't mean anything. But once you get that tie-in later on, there's a massive payoff for that information we get early on.
Mm-hmm. In due time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like, this is a really enjoyable episode from just the casino. It's funny to see, Spike still stresses Spike, but Jet's in to the nines.
Yes.
Just, he's decked out. I dig it. I like the little conversation that they're having in the elevator. It's like, hands wash hands and stuff. And Spike's just like, I don't think Charlie Parker's going to be quoting Goethe or something.
Makes him put his cigarette out.
Right. Yeah, he does the regurgitation thing, which outside of this episode is really nothing, but
no.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Trick of the trade.
Yeah, trick of the trade. I mean, you see this a bit. Yeah, Spike has this kind of, how to put it, misdirect, obfuscation, sort of sneakiness to him. Being like doing the whole pickpocketing thing. Like that one pops up a whole lot more. But yeah, he's just got this, just a, something's not right with the boy. He's doing things. He really should be behaving himself. He doesn't like to do that.
Doesn't like to be tethered.
Right. So, but yeah, like I don't know, like what's some things you dig about this episode?
I like the,
because I could literally just like go through the whole thing, but
yeah, no, we better not do that. But I think some of the highlights here are we get a lot of that sort of Blade Runner techno punk vibe in the first 2 episodes, like here and there, splashed. This episode kind of highlights it a lot more, I felt, just in the sense of the way the casino is set up and some of the sort of holographic style imagery and things like that. I thought was really cool and gives it a bit of a sci-fi look, but still a bit of that, the known world, I guess. Like it's not super, super advanced, but it does have some level of advancement. Like when Spike flicks out his cigarette and that garbage can seems to, like, I don't know, swallow it or something.
Yeah, I imagine that the ashtray just, when it closes, it opens up a chute down below and it just kind of gets rid of it, which is really cool because it makes it, have that look of pristine cleanliness kind of thing. It's a really cool concept.
What would happen if you dropped your chips in there?
I don't know. I mean, maybe they're not big enough to suck the chips in.
Maybe.
Kind of thing. So just kind of close.
Gets tangled in there somehow. I do agree with you. I like that Jet is completely dressed up. He's even got like the singular white glove on and stuff. And just it looks so dapper, looks so good, and Spike couldn't care less, just wearing his average. Spike doesn't really change his clothes very much in this.
He dresses down every now and again.
There's a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, later, but about a midway point, that double set of episodes, he dresses down
Oh,
to some
he
degree
has.
there,
Well, I was
for the
thinking more
most
of
part,
like when it's just the undershirt and the boxers.
yeah, for the most
Like
part,
cinematic
he's
stuff.
got the iconic blue and yellow suit that he typically wears.
The loop on the third look, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad he wasn't wearing like a tuxedo or something. That would have actually been kind of cool if they were both kind of dressed up. But anyways, yeah, it's cool to see Jet take it seriously. This is
Well, but I think this also is a great highlight of their own characters, right?
Yeah.
This is, to me, that always, how Jet would dress up for it makes me think of how a bit more of the older generation would dress up for certain things. Yeah, certainly we have that to some degree, but a lot of times it goes into Sillyville of let's dress up for a party, but it's silly. We're gonna,
right.
So
You can have a spinny bow tie.
oh boy, exciting times. But yeah, I think it's a good highlight for their characters where Spike's like oh, whatever, I don't care. And then Jet reprimanding him before going in. It's like, hey, you probably shouldn't be, don't win too much here. Like,
don't draw any attention.
Right.
Because you can
Spike's
card
like, well,
count.
You shouldn't have brought me.
Yeah, you can card count. You can do all kinds of stuff that would get you kicked out of a casino, blacklisted.
Right. Yeah. And Spike's just like, well, shouldn't have brought me.
But that's that interesting dynamic. Again, it flips around because Spike doesn't win anything, and Jet wins everything.
Well, yeah, because Spike's being cheated out of it. He's just kind of having a fun time with it.
Right. But it's still just amusing that Jet said to him not to win anything, and Jet's the one who's getting lucky because he's playing slots.
Hands watch hands. Come on.
So I just find that's kind of interesting as well. A small point that kind of doesn't really get brought up, but
well, it does in the sense that the financial stakes increase, and they let you know, which is nice instead of just kind of visually showing it or something. But they're like, oh yeah, how much did you lose? 300,000 Wulongs or something.
Yeah, there was 200,000.
Yeah, 200,000, and then phase bounties, what, 6 million?
6 million.
Yeah, and then 200,000 became 6 million, which became 30 million for the chip,
right,
kind of thing. So it's a nice show of this is the stakes being increased more and more and more, and it helps that it's got the backdrop of the casino and everything. Right. It really ties in well.
Right. Yep.
Something else I also like is that we do get a little bit more of a look-see into Jet's history.
Yep.
And mentioning it, I don't know if be so open in mentioning that part of the, the interstellar, and what is it, the
intersolar system police.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Intersolar system police special forces. I don't know if you really need to bring that up necessarily, Jet, but thank you for letting us know. It is good to know part of the ISSP.
Well, it's taken 3 episodes to get any sort of semblance of their past. So, and it's basically a one-off line that gives us any indication of at least Jet's past, since Spike hasn't shown us anything at this time. We're still a couple episodes away from that.
Right. We get a complete lot of malarkey from Faye there.
Well, doesn't even Jet say at some point, like, boy, you like to talk. So
Faye just lies the whole time.
Yeah.
Faye's a liar. And it makes sense, because it's
pathological liar.
Well, I don't know if I would say that. It's just more of, it's a defense mechanism. So you can't get close. And, I like that, mentioning, you're a Gaujo, family's Romany and all this kind of nonsense. And it's just like, it's it works really well, this ingredient of this character being thrown into the stew, because it starts to really make things pop. So
I thought you were going to say more so that she got thrown into the laboratory, but she spends a solid 10% of the episode in the bathroom.
Decent part of her yeah, she's kind of stuck there, and it's she she's just conniving liar about it, and it's like, hey, I need, please unlock at least one of them. I can't even use the bathroom. And it's like, what does she do? Immediately starts getting out.
Well, that's the thing. She seems resourceful. I would have thought she would have gotten out of 2.
You would think. You kind of wonder how she even, is that whole bit where they're on her vehicle and then she drops them off, they get her and then lock her up in the bathroom.
Right.
It's a little blurry.
Missing cells.
Yeah, there's a few missing parts in there that really would help elucidate how this happened, but you can kind of just fill it in however you want to, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, well, even when Jet screams at her something like, you have to open the hatchway to get out.
Oh, yeah.
But it's such a blink and you miss it, so it's not really clear that she just kind of flew straight through without, it's there, but it's not really abundantly clear that that's what happened.
Right.
It's just kind of, you see a bit of a crash and she's just off, and then he just kind of says that line. You're like, what? That's kind of hard to tell that that's what just happened.
Mm.
But yeah, there's a couple of little things like that, but nothing serious.
Yeah, it's nothing that's mind breaking or anything like that. It's yeah, that, and they're even with all that going on, there's a bit of a menace with that Gordon character as well.
Yep.
He just murks the idea, the plan, I don't quite get myself. Just give him a chip. Why do you have to go through this song and dance to be like, oh, this is my last chip, I'll give it to you because you're such a wonderful dealer. Why go through that song and dance? Just give it to him. Be like, hey.
I think it was just maybe he was concerned because how Jet had said 3 years they've been searching for that. And so maybe he thought they might have been onto him, so he'd have to do the deal as quietly as possible. That's the only thing I can think of, is because that shady dude doesn't really get introduced, really, right? He's just sort of on that screen all fuzzy, and then he just kind of walks up and he's in the scene and then he's gone.
Right.
I just assumed that was it. It was just more Gordon is probably being watched pretty consistently by the police, because Jet had made some comments earlier, right, about how easy it was to money launder through casinos and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume the casinos would be pretty high alert place for the police to keep an eye on.
I guess if there was at least some visual that showed that would really, really help, because it doesn't quite, there's not quite the air of that. Partially because you're following these bounty hunters and stuff, and you really, outside of the first episode of these 3, there's not that first episode, it's a mighty strong appearance of police force.
Got him down.
But seriously, holy crap, they're not really shown too much, so it's kind of not necessarily that's a negative. It would have just been nice, just even in the backdrop or something. I think it would have helped just made more sense of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I can see that. Well, and then, again, maybe also because Gordon is, a known public figure. So to do this as quietly as possible without triggering anybody to suspect anything, you could analyze it a few different ways. I just leave it to the imagination to some degree. It would have been nice to just give it a bit of a, the police are outside and they're profiling everybody who comes through the casino or something. But there's it's not too far of a stretch, I guess, in my mind that he wouldn't necessarily want to be out in the open of picking things up and what have you.
Well, no, he could just like instruct the dude to be like, "Hey, just leave it at the counter, leave it at the front desk."
Could have, I guess, maybe just the idea too of that chip could get now mixed in with a whole bunch of other chips, or I don't know. But anywho,
right?
Yeah,
no,
he does have a bit of a menace for sure, though.
Yeah, but he has a menace and
a creepiness. Somehow knowing that Faye had a card slipped up her backside.
And that card is looking pretty good, so kudos to her to be able to stow that there. It wasn't
folded or.
I can't even put like a card in my pocket, pants pocket, without it like bending and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So,
well, she's talented at sleight of hand. So.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in particular that you are kind of on the episode, or you don't like?
Not overly. I think it's a little bit goofy that they launch all those missiles at her, and one randomly kind of just gets deflected back, even though
it's reversing polarity.
I hate that. What did they throw at her? About 20 missiles or something? 10 missiles? Something like that. Enough to do a lot of damage.
Right.
Just the one randomly goes back towards them and blows them all away. But
yeah,
I like the sort of spacewalk imagery, and sort of, I assume that's sort of a bit of a call to, say, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Even you get the inside of the Bebop, right, with the turning thing. Looks like that iconic scene with the jogging, and they're going.
It's
kind of looks like that.
Force to recreate gravity and stuff.
Yeah.
I do like that they have that sort of detail, and it certainly is a good focus point in the movie, but even just throughout the series of just repetition, but also this sort of rhythm to things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really helps infuse even scenes that are at face value very maybe drab or just kind of like plain looking, or just not a lot going on, like that back and forth about when count to 3 you let go of the chip and we'll pass you the money kind of thing. There's always the movement of that kind of centrifugal force, whatever thing, the
propeller,
Gordon's ship
is.
that's then it shoots to Spike eyeing that because he's keeping an eye on things, making sure that he's got his own just something in his back pocket if things go sideways, kind of thing.
That environment to his advantage.
Yeah. So it's a nice details into a character like this, that are being shown, not tell kind of thing, without going into a diatribe of, I knew that if I waited till then to do that, then there would be enough time and blah 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 blah. No, it just kind of just does it. Yeah, MacGyver.
Yeah. The singular solar beam from the sun at the angle at 4:30 p.m. lit through my magnifying glass, which caused said thing to happen. Yeah, but I like the spacewalk idea as a little bit more element. We don't really get that again, which is unfortunate. Not at length that I recall. I don't know. We've got to get through all these episodes to really remember, but this one particularly was pretty memorable. I remembered this before even watching this episode.
Okay, yeah, there's a few parts here and there where they're in the suits and stuff.
But boy, he can sure dodge bullets like they're nothing.
Well, there's those little air packs or whatever, jetpack kind of stuff that at least makes him maneuverable.
Right.
So.
Still, we're talking bullets flying at you.
No, I get that. I'm just saying. So, and I mean, dude's in a bit of a bulkier suit, so.
Right. Yeah.
Should have slimmed it down.
Yeah.
Rookie
or
mistake.
just be a better shot.
Or be a better shot. That's usually a good. Next time, make sure to turn the gun on to aim, and then instead of miss. Usually helps.
Manual aim versus auto. Auto fire.
Auto aim. Maybe for those old PC games.
Yeah.
But
I like the idea like that Gordon's trying to blackmail Faye, and then I like the whole concept of the chip and the crypt breaker. I don't know, is it technology? I guess it's a software program essentially.
Well, yeah, it's an encryption code for an encryption code.
Yeah, which is pretty neat. And then you need the additional device to work it all, which is pretty neat. And I like Jet's sort of explanation of it, and kind of one-upping Gordon in the sense that Spike and him know, they're aware of what they actually have in their hand, and then they try to blackmail him.
Right.
Which turns into another double cross. But it's easy to follow. It's not too convoluted.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
And then it's another getting away with the money.
Yep.
And not only with the money, but also cleaning out their refrigerator as she's escaping.
Well, I don't know if cleaning is the appropriate. The refrigerator is disgusting.
Yeah, she's just a bit of a slob.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was I going to say about that? With Jet is not only you get the police bit, but you got a little bit when they were tracking Ein in episode 2, but more that he knows his way around a computer.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, he's not mercifully 90s hacker, but
a James Bond Roger Moore.
Yeah, right.
Who just
I just know everything.
Type in 2 keys and could hack into any mainframe or whatever.
Right. So that, and also, despite all of the lying that Faye does, it is a slight peek into her character that she doesn't blink an eye at 6 million woolongs.
Right.
She's like, is that it? That's just $200K. That's chump change. Right. 6 million. That's it.
Well, it makes you wonder how fast she spent that 30.
Well, pretty fast.
It didn't amount to much.
Yeah, he's coming as
go. We'll see.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, yeah. Is there anything else, or you want to put a bounty on this one?
Just about ready to put a bounty. I did have a quote in this one that I thought was kind of
okay. Yeah.
And that's when Faye is chained up, and she does that sort of wolf howl. And she's like, the wilds are calling me. You can't keep me locked up. Spike's already walked away by that point.
Right. Like I like the one early on where the casino security comes up to Spike and they're like, can you come with us to talk? We need to talk to you about something, sir, or something. And Spike's just like what? And then they just punch him.
Punch him in the face.
And bad move.
Yeah. I like the follow-up line that comes up. I don't remember how he says something, but it's like, oh, you guys are great at giving a free workout or something.
Oh, no, something like, I really like the workout program you got here.
Something like that. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And then just, I think the overall vibe of Jet in this one is quite fun just because yes, he kind of goes back into the sense of what we've seen in episodes 1 and 2, but just the casino bit, he kind of lets loose a little bit more, and it's fun to see that.
Yeah, he's a bit more kid in a candy store in a way.
A little bit.
It's like, yeah, still reserved. Gotta be the adult. But
get him in his huge. I don't even know what decade those shades are from. The 80s.
Oh yeah, something.
Those shades. He's got the very boxy shaped shades.
Right.
I think the 80s. I think is like you had Bret Hart and wrestling had shades kind of similar, and then you had. I think there's a few action movies that had kind of similar. Oh, like the Terminator, the first Terminator. Arnold shades are kind of like that.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, well, it was not until after because the original Duke Nukem didn't wear shades.
No, he did not.
And he had a very unhealthy skin tan color.
He's looking a little sickly.
A little unhealthy.
Dr. Proton was getting to him.
Yeah, what is that? What was that software called? Is it Apogee that made that game?
Oh yeah, I think so.
All those games had from that time frame had this really horrible coloring.
Right.
Commander Keen and they were pretty bad looking. But yeah, I'm ready to give this a bounty if you are.
I was gonna say the other line I like is the one where it's like the dealer's cheating. I like the way that it's delivered.
Yeah. The one at the end when the ship flies off, or the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that yeah at the end.
Don't your 3 buddies show up in this too? Aren't they gambling away?
Yeah, they're that's how Spike gets
right. He
some
steals
chips right at the beginning. Yeah, because they're playing something. I don't know.
I think they're playing Baccarat.
Are they?
Yeah, because Baccarat you're trying to get 9 or less. So I'm pretty sure they're playing Baccarat.
That would make a lot more sense.
After Bond, I've been trying to do a little bit more reading up on Baccarat. I play it a little bit, and I'm assuming that's what they're playing because they've only got the 2 cards as well. So
yeah,
pretty sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So what's the bounty you're throwing at it?
So Faye's bounty was 6. I will give this a bounty of. I'm going to go pretty high, actually. I'm going to give this a bounty of 9 million oolongs.
Oh, there you go. I will go even higher. I super duper really enjoy this episode. I'm going to give it 12. Double it up.
Nice.
12 million oolongs. Because it is a really, sure, there's a couple little fuzzy parts here and there, but it is a very enjoyable one. It's honestly one that I've, not necessarily because I go back to it or anything, it's probably one that I've just watched a lot more frequently than some of the others, just out of random chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not one that tires on me. And it's not to say that others really tire on me or anything, but it's just a really, really strong, stoidy, very, very good episode.
Yep, I agree.
So, all right. Well, with that, please let us know what you think of Honky Tonk Women, this wonderful episode. Maybe you don't like it, and in which case, might have to put a bounty on you. But that's beside the point.
Ouch!
Right?
You're gonna see you on Big Shot.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that is it. Thanks for listening, and see you, Space Cowboy.